Okay,
Okay.
f fire away. We'll start. So you want to start with Xena the puppy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to, I'm going to take you in the house so you can listen to her right now. She's
Okay.
in her crate. Well, now she's quiet, but um she is almost she's about 4 months old.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to walk in the room and then walk out.
Okay. Is she quiet?
She was quiet. She had
Okay.
just quieted down.
Okay. So if you're gonna go in there and she's quiet, you should take her out.
Oh, okay. Take her out every time.
Well, because you're still crate training her, right?
Yes.
So, because if you go in there and leave, she's gonna start barking again, right?
Okay. Well, she had been barking. She had just quieted down.
All right.
I
So
mean,
let you
even
could, I
from our
mean,
first of our call.
yeah, I mean, you could let her bark if you want. That's fine. Just
Okay.
if she's barking, don't go in there.
Okay. Don't go in there.
Right.
Okay. How do I know though if, since I'm potty training her, how do I know if she's barking because she's got to go to the bathroom or if she just wants me?
Yeah, so that's the tough balance that we have to try and strike as we're raising puppies.
Okay.
Um, the thing is this is that you're home most of the day, right?
Yes.
So you can get her on a schedule and she can be out to relieve herself every few hours,
Yes.
right? So we don't
Yeah.
have like if you were working 8, 9, 10 hours, now we're probably talking about you have to hire somebody to come and let her out midday.
Uh-huh.
But for the sake of crate training and physiologically, she can hold it in for several hours.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, but she will piddle in her crate.
That yeah. So the trade-off is she might have some accidents in the
Okay.
crate, right? That
Okay.
will resolve itself, and compare that to the risk you run of promoting crate or separation anxiety, which could last a lifetime.
Okay.
Right? So that needs to be your mindset. You got some temporary discomfort, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
but for long-term success, as opposed to, you know, crate and separation anxiety. Crate anxiety is a little easier to deal with. Separation anxiety, although it's sometimes associated with confinement, it could last a lifetime, and the symptoms of separation anxiety could range from barking and whining to complete destruction to self-mutilation, right?
Okay.
So the risk reward, it just to me, it makes more sense to deal with her vocalization and crate anxiety first. And obviously you can address the crate training from her urinating in the crate. That again, that would resolve itself a lot quicker. So
Okay.
how many times a day you're feeding the puppy?
Um, 3 times a day.
All in the crate?
Yeah, in the crate. I just started feeding her in the crate Saturday
Okay,
when I read that in your book.
good. Okay. How big is her crate?
It is must be like 32 inches.
Okay, so she barely fits in there then.
Yeah. She
Okay.
barely fits in there. She can turn around and all that.
Stand that. Okay,
I
good.
bought a 36-inch, but it's too big and it's too big for my room.
Yeah, it's too big for her right now anyway because she's
Yeah.
smaller. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, if you get her on a consistent schedule, her bladder will strengthen as a byproduct of that schedule,
Okay.
right?
Now, what about at night? Should I be getting up at night, setting my alarm to take her
At
out, or
at
wait for her?
at 4 months old or so, provided you're not giving her any water 1 hour before bedtime, you should get 6 to 8 hours out of her sleeping
Okay.
because her resting metabolic rate is going to afford her the opportunity to hold it in longer, right? Because she's not up,
Yeah.
she's not active. Puppies, even if they're not drinking water, if they're active all day, they'll have to urinate every 15 minutes.
I know she does. When she's
Yeah,
playing with Panda and they're all, she does. She pees every 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God.
right. So at night, when her body's at rest, right, she's going to sleep through most of the night. Now, that doesn't mean, you might have to work through her whining a little bit at 4 or 5 a.m. And just wait for her to calm down or quiet down rather before you get up and let her out, right?
Okay. Okay,
So
'cause last night I got up twice with her.
did she wake you up?
She woke me up.
Okay, so now you're validating and rewarding whining,
That's right. Okay.
right?
Alright,
And
so
that's
wait till she quiets and then take her out. That's
right. And
right.
now
I
that's
know
the
that.
trade-off. Like she might have an accident in there. That's okay right now, again, because
Okay.
we can combat crate training and housebreaking a lot quicker than the potential of separation anxiety, which is, again, a potential lifelong behavior.
Okay.
Right.
Alright.
So, and I mean, a shepherd with anxiety and separation anxiety or general anxiety, that's a tough placement, and it's a like people like you and me will deal with it, because we're used to it,
Yeah.
right? But the
Yeah.
average pet owner is going to have a hard time dealing with separation anxiety, and that's one of the reasons why dogs are surrendered, right?
Oh, okay.
So, we as, when we foster dogs, it's another challenge is, we fall in love with them quickly, right? And we bond with
Uh-huh.
them and we love them. And sometimes it's bittersweet when they leave, right?
Yeah.
But we always have to constantly remind ourselves that we have a job to do. Our job, first and foremost, is to make them more adoptable, period. Right
Okay.
now, love and attention and companionship, that's all going to be part of making her more adoptable, but we have to be proactive as far as from a behavior and obedience standpoint, making her more adoptable. So
Okay.
I always, that's how, like, when I'm fostering a dog, I always, obviously I'm a trainer, so I look at things through my trainer eyes. I look at things through my rescue eyes. When I'm fostering, I have to constantly remind myself I have a job to do. I have a job to do.
Okay.
This is not my dog. My sole purpose is to make this dog more adoptable, to set them up for success, so their next stop in life is their last stop in life.
Okay. Alright.
Right.
Okay, good.
So, and
Okay.
that, that's, it's like a little mental game we got to play with ourselves. Cause I mean, I mean, again, our
Yeah.
emotions are involved. We're heavily invested. We're attached to them. We want to do right by them. Sometimes that could cloud our judgment and kind of get us away a little bit of the job that we have to do as a foster home.
Yes. And that has happened with me with Nala.
It happens to me with
Yeah.
every dog I foster.
Yeah. It does. Okay.
I always have to check myself. We're human and
Yeah.
we love them, but you
Yeah.
know, love is good as long as it's not causing them to be further away from being adoptable,
That's right.
right?
Okay.
Like, let's
Good
say we
point.
have a feral dog or a dog that wasn't socialized, right? So
Uh-huh.
now all that love and attention and affection, that's going to help make them more adoptable. With a dog that has anxiety or separation anxiety, that could cause them to be less adoptable, right? So
Okay.
we have to be flexible and adjustable in how we approach each foster as an individual.
Okay. Now, could she have separation anxiety already, the puppy Xena?
Sure.
Yeah.
Where'd she come from?
She was a stray in
Okay.
Camden County.
Okay. So, all right. So she was a stray. So let's say like she was a stray at 4 months old. She had to come from somewhere,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
right?
guess she was
So
just dumped. I don't know.
it's all right. All right. So let's assume she was dumped. Okay. So she was still born somewhere.
Uh-huh.
So wherever she was born, regardless of what that environment was, she was displaced, right? So she left one
Yeah.
spot. Then she wound up being stray. That's another spot, right?
Uh-huh.
Then she wound up at the shelter, right?
Okay.
That's the third stop. Now she's with you. That's
Yeah,
four
poor thing.
stops in 4 months,
Yeah.
right?
Poor
I
baby.
mean,
Yeah.
I've never lived 4 places in 4 months in my life.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for a young puppy, that's a lot to deal with, right? So
Yeah.
that could create some separation anxiety or some precursors to separation anxiety. But now she's with you, so we have to make sure she feels right at home. So scheduling, structure, consistency, all that stuff is going to make her more adoptable. And again, now she's going to be going on her fifth stop wherever she winds up.
I know.
We got
Yeah.
to hope that's her last, right? So that's
Okay.
why we have to approach fostering as a job.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Now that,
Doesn't mean we love them any less. It doesn't mean that we still don't give them lots of love and affection and exercise. We do all that stuff, but that needs
uh-huh.
to be our mindset.
Okay. Now that brings me to another question. So when she quiets down, I let her out of the kennel when it's her time. You
Yep.
know, when Nala's not out. So when I let her out, she is so anxious, Jeff. Even though she's been quiet, she's jumping and jumping, and she's, and wants me to hold her and like snuggle her and comfort her. But I'm thinking that's probably not the thing I need to do because I am going to encourage this behavior. I want her to be independent and not need me. Is that right? Or,
Well,
but she's a baby and I don't know where that
okay.
line is between.
Okay, so it's clear we do not acknowledge stimulated states of mind. Remember
That's right.
that
Yes,
was one
yeah.
of the
Like
last
when
things,
I leave or come home, I ignore
right?
them now.
One of the last things I
Okay.
left you with when we
You did.
met,
Yep.
right? We ignore unwanted states of mind and we only reward or acknowledge desired states of mind. Now she's a puppy. She's still going to be a puppy, okay?
Okay.
So when you let her out, just ignore her. Go right to the back door and let her in the yard.
Okay.
Don't talk to her. Don't even make eye contact with her. Just let her out of the crate as matter of fact as possible and let her get outside to do her business. You could reward her when she piddles outside or poops outside,
Uh huh.
right? Let her run around. She'll do her zoomies when she's in the yard, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Let her calm down. And then when you
Okay.
come back inside, just like with your dogs, how I suggested you do those little mini obedience sessions every day, you
Yeah, I'm
do,
doing those with her.
yep,
Yep.
you do it with the puppy,
Yep.
right?
I am.
Because 4 months old, she jumps on you. What is she jumping on your knee or your lower thigh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
well,
now.
yeah, right now, fast forward 4 months, she's knocking someone over by jumping on their midsection,
That's right. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, that's what jumping behavior is learned at a very early age, especially with large dogs. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to people's homes. They have multiple dogs, a bigger dog and a couple of little dogs, or even one little dog. They call me for the big dog that is jumping and out of control. And when I walk in the house, the little dog does the same thing, but they didn't mention a darn thing about the behavior because that little dog is jumping on their shin.
That's right. It's not affecting them as much.
Right.
Yeah,
And
as the big dog.
dogs learn from each other too. So, I don't
Yeah.
care if the dog, this is my rule of thumb. Whatever the behavior is, would it be acceptable if it was done to a toddler or a geriatric person? If the
Okay.
answer is no, it wouldn't be acceptable. It can't be acceptable to any other human.
Okay.
Right now, when she gets
Yeah.
adopted, if people, if they, how people don't listen to our instructions, right? When they get a dog, right?
Yeah.
If that develops in their home, obviously that's something that the home has to navigate. But again, you as a foster having your job to do, you have to be mindful of not just the right now, but the foreseeable future and the rest of her life.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was going to close that door. It
That's
was so
okay.
loud.
Hmm.
All right. So I'm putting, like your book said, I'm feeding her in her crate now without the door closed, and I am tossing treats in there before she goes in there.
Good.
Okay, and that will help her get
Uh,
used to her crate.
that'll help her have a positive association with going in and out.
Okay,
Yep.
now go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can start feeding her one of her meals with the door closed. And
Okay,
what you could do is sit down, like where she's in your bedroom.
yeah, my bedroom
Okay. So let's say you're gonna put her in there. So where do you have the food? You're pushing it all the way to the back right
to
now?
the back.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So do that again. Close the door. Maybe sit down on the bed. Don't look at her. Don't acknowledge her. Just maybe fiddle around on your phone or something. As soon as she's done eating, let her out.
Okay.
before she starts getting vocal and antsy, because as you know, as soon as they drink or eat, they got to go out.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
if we can get her in the habit of eating with the door closed, and then as soon as she's done eating, you open the door. Remember, you're not talking to her.
No
You don't have
talking. Okay.
no talking, just opening that crate door has to be matter of fact, almost transactional. It's just something you're doing, and you're walking right to the back door and letting her out. And then once she's
Okay.
outside and relieves herself, you could reward her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I did that wrong. I should have read your crate training section before I put her in the crate, because I just put her in the crate and
Yeah, I
expect
mean,
her to get over it, you know?
yeah, it's okay. We could always again like the crate part of it. That's something that resolves a lot quicker than the other behaviors that, the separation anxiety, the jumping, like that stuff makes them less adoptable. Going in and out
Okay.
of the crate, that's easy to condition them to make it positive with treats and recreational chews. And, like I have in my book, you make it kind of fun and always positive.
Uh-huh.
So, yep,
Yeah, I've got a Kong too. I put a little bit of peanut butter in the Kong and put that in there. That gives her something to do for a little while. Um,
good.
so I do. Okay. And then, um, so she's good for pottying for a couple of hours. All right.
Yeah, well, set her schedule.
Set her schedule. Okay.
Yeah, get her on a schedule. So if you wake up at 8 and she goes out, so maybe like 8, 11, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and depending on how late you go to bed, her last time out could be 8 or 9 o'clock, could be 11 o'clock, depending on what time you go to bed.
Okay.
So start with a structured time schedule, because that's going to help her bladder. And then you ignoring her whining is going to help her create anxiety.
Okay. All right. Um, she she's in there barking now. I mean, she's going at it. She is just going at it because Nala and Sam started barking. So, but I just have her in my room with the door shut, and I can ignore her fine. But I work in my room, so I always have to put her in the crate when I get a crisis call, because I need the room to be quiet. But she does quiet down. As long as I'm in the room, she's quiet. It's just when I leave that
Yep.
I can get up to go to the bathroom, which is connected to the bedroom, and she flips the lid. So, but anyway, I've been ignoring it, and the only time I've let her out when she whined was in the middle of the night, because I'm not thinking clearly,
Well, yeah,
thought
plus
she
she's
had
a
to potty.
puppy, and you think she might have to potty, which
I
is
did, yeah.
it's possible that's the case, but we do have to help her strengthen her bladder. And again, if as are you giving her water right before bed, or giving her any treats right before bed?
No, no treat. Yeah, I gave her a treat to get her in the, through the treat in the kennel last night before she went to bed.
Yeah, so
So,
you probably need to avoid that if possible. She's not crate trained yet fully as far as going in on her own.
okay,
So if you have to toss a treat in, that's fine, but make it a very, very tiny piece just so she has something to get in there. But if she
okay,
ingests anything, it's going to cause her body to react to that and have to eliminate.
okay,
And the primary thing is, no, definitely no water at least an hour before bedtime, and she should go out right before she goes to bed in the crate.
okay. All right. Okay, I'll take her water
Yeah.
up an hour
Yeah.
before bedtime. Okay.
Yeah. And that,
And I should really do it with
that's
all of them, right?
well, I mean, not necessarily. You're
Okay.
not you're not crate training or housebreaking everybody else,
No. Uh-uh.
right? It's just her. So,
Now, can I ask you something about Panda and marking her territory?
hmm
So Panda's crate trained and potty trained now. It took her a while though. And Zena's doing great with potty training. We had one accident in the house yesterday. One accident,
Okay.
except in her crate. But yesterday I spent all this time at the laundromat cleaning my big comforter and drying it and all that, changing my sheets and I don't clean my comforter, every couple of months. But it's a big ordeal. Sat down on the bed last night, and Panda will do this occasionally. She had peed on the bed right where I sit. And she's not doing it to eliminate, she's doing it to let the other dogs know that's her spot, I think. Well, I remember from your book, if you didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Correct.
So I didn't say anything. I wanted to, but I didn't. I listened. Well, was coming out of the bathroom before going to bed, and I called her. She was lifting that leg again in another spot. She's getting it all ready now because it's been cleaned, I guess. But I got her that time. I mean, I did. And I was very harsh with her and raised my voice to her. And she went down to the foot of the bed. And then she came up to try to get attention. And I said, no, I don't know. And I just ignored her. But I don't want her to pee on my bed. Nobody does. Is there any, crater at night?
Yeah. So
Crater all
what?
the time?
Panda's what, a year old?
Yeah, a year and a half.
So every time she urinates successfully, that behavior is more likely to reproduce itself in the future. So you might have to kind of take a step back with her and kind of treat her more like she's 5 months old as opposed to a year and a half old.
Okay.
And in that, if she can't be supervised, she needs to be crated or confined somewhere,
Okay.
right? And if the bed is an issue for whatever behavior is presented on the bed, in this case, marking, she really
Uh-huh.
shouldn't have access to that resource
Okay.
until she's old enough. Now, how long have you had her again?
I got her February made a year.
Okay, and she's spayed, right?
Yeah, she's spayed.
Okay, and so sometimes like dogs that are spayed too young, they could have incontinent issues. But with her, and I only spent a little bit of time with her, but she does have a little edge to her, and
She does.
I could totally see her lifting her because a lot of people don't realize females also dominant females or females that are marking or engaging in a dominant behavior like marking also lift their legs like males do.
Yeah,
So,
she does.
yeah, and now you got, you have three females in the house, right? So,
Yeah.
that changes the chemistry of their family unit or pack, if you will, right?
Okay.
And we can analyze that till we're blue in the face, but I think just keep it simple right now. Take a step back, shrink her world a little bit again,
Okay.
right? And get her, maybe get her on a schedule too, right? So,
Okay.
but she can't have access to that resource any more than,
Okay.
some dogs that jump on the bed and growl because they're on the bed and they want to guard that resource, right?
Yeah.
We can analyze why. It doesn't matter if they're doing something behaviorally that is not aligned with our expectations of them. We restrict that access for a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Right. God, this is also new to me, Jeff. I'm really trying to learn, and but this is all new concepts to me. So it's like learning a foreign language.
yeah, and every dog's an individual. I mean, you may never had any of these problems with other dogs you've had, and
Yeah.
now you have a few different issues cropping up with different dogs. So
Yeah.
it
Okay.
happens. Yeah, it's not unique. Don't feel bad.
Okay. Now,
It's
last
not
question.
necessarily that it's a new language. They're just new experiences for you. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I bought a fabric muzzle for Nala. Now, this is where I have a real problem. Nala doesn't like the muzzle. It's not comfortable to her. She doesn't like it. And so I don't make her wear it. So but I would like to introduce her to the puppy to see how they would do, get
Mm-hmm.
along.
Right.
Because she's been posted for adoption now. I mean, you think she's fine with other dogs, don't you? You think
Nala?
she gets along with other dogs? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems so, yeah.
Okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
well, your dogs anyway, you know.
Okay. So do you think that if I let she and Sam out, I could do it by myself
Yeah,
and
I think
supervise them
so. Have you had Sam and Nala in the yard with Nala on leash?
by myself?
Yeah, since I left.
No, not by myself. No.
Okay. So, that's something that needs to continue to happen. Now, if it didn't happen since I was there, then, I know it's hard getting people to help you out, but, something like that would probably be a good first step because the only challenge is that, Sam kind of does his own thing in the yard, right?
Yeah.
And like I was handling Nala, but Sam always went to you. So
Uh-huh.
if it's just you and you're handling Nala, Sam's going to be right next to you. So you might need to stay in motion and keep them walking. The main thing is try not to talk them through it, right? We don't need to interject our voice in a loving manner in that situation. We just remember I said, when in doubt, get in motion,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah,
you could
and I
just
do that with Xena.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you could just walk around the yard with Sam and Nala. And I would say Sam not so much, but definitely Nala, take her for a walk first, just to
Okay.
drain a little bit of her energy, and then walk back in. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
And then walk back in with Nala, let Sam out, walk right to the back door if you're comfortable.
Okay.
If you're not comfortable yet, I'm probably coming up again in a few weeks anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
if you're not
Yeah.
comfortable doing it, we could do it again, and then I'll kind of let you take the lead, and I'll just
Okay.
kind of observe and monitor and intercede if I have to.
Okay.
But if
'Cause
it, go ahead.
yeah, you did great the last time when you caught Nala getting ready to mount Sam
Yep,
and you whistled. So I've been thinking about that whistle because I can't whistle. But so I bought a whistle.
good.
So now I have a whistle I can blow if she, but see,
Yeah,
I see that as dominant aggressive behavior, but it's not necessarily, is it, mounting?
no, it's
Oh,
it's
it's
a
not.
it,
Okay.
it's a at its core, it's arousal. The dog is aroused, right? So dogs that are aroused are going to engage in physically escalating behaviors, one of them being mounting behavior, right?
Okay.
And like if you have two really sweet dogs and they just really get along and you have no issues and they mount each other, they usually most people can allow that to they can let that go and let the dogs figure it out.
Yeah.
When especially if you're alone and if you have two powerful dogs, we always err on the side of caution and disconnect any physically escalating behavior like jumping,
Uh-huh.
right? So jumping, humping, mouthing, all those are physically escalating behaviors that we need to nip in the bud. And I whistle as my default,
Uh-huh.
just like most people, their default is no.
Okay.
I just whistle. I've been doing it for God, I don't know, decades.
Yeah,
It,
but
it's
it's a good tool.
it's my disconnect word, but it's a
Okay.
whistle. But it could be hey. It just needs to
Okay.
be assertive. And now, obviously, I had her on leash, so I was also able to use the leash as a communication,
Okay.
right? And I
Yeah.
didn't yank her off. I gave her a little tap, and she got right
Yeah.
off. What did
She
I do?
did. Yeah.
I whistled. I tapped her on the leash. She got off. What did I do next?
You walked her.
And I said, "Good girl."
You praised her. Yes, you praised
Nothing
her.
too
Yeah.
gratuitous, just a quick validation that, okay, this was wrong and you got corrected. This was right and you got rewarded. So the next time I might, let's just say I don't whistle, it could just be
Uh-huh.
right? But we have to start assertive.
Okay.
And so whatever your assertive sound is, it could be no, it could be it could be a whistle. It doesn't really matter, right?
Uh-huh.
As long as it's consistent.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I definitely want you to come back when you can. Just let me know when you're free because I'm not working any more weekends
Okay. Well, she's getting
for a
spayed,
long
isn't she?
time. You know what? It was last Thursday, and when they shaved her belly, they found a spay tattoo. She'd already been spayed.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah,
good.
so that worked out great. So we'll be at the event Saturday,
Okay.
but I'd love for you to come either on a Saturday or whenever you're free again, maybe
All
the
right.
next weekend or something.
Yeah, my phone's inside. When we hang up from here,
Okay.
I'll check my schedule.
Okay. And send me a link so I can pay you too
Okay.
for
Yeah,
today.
I'll you do Venmo?
Yeah, I do Venmo. I do all of it. Yeah.
All right. I'll send it to you when I look at my schedule, and I'll send you my Venmo.
Okay, great. All right,
You have,
Jeff.
do you have any other questions?
No, I think that's all for right now. I may
How
have some Saturday.
how is Sam with the puppy?
He's good. He just doesn't want the puppy on his back.
Okay.
You know how they like to jump on their back? He doesn't like
Yep.
that. And he'll, or a little bit. But I knew Sam. Sam loves dogs. He
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
other animals, and Panda is fabulous. They are
Good.
best buddies.
Good. Cool.
Best buddies. So it's working out great with I think I need to stick with puppies instead of older dogs. But I like the seniors too.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So,
Well,
okay.
Sam's temperament that affords you a lot of flexibility in what kind of dogs you could take in too, because he is so even keel.
Yeah, and lay back. Yeah.
Yep. So,
He
all right,
really is.
I'll send you that stuff. If you have any
Okay.
questions, you could always call or text. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeff.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.